Hello SLAPAFISH community, welcome back to another World Tanks Console video. So in this video, I'm going to be going over this week's Tank Reforged. Basically, it's a Tank Reforged, but it's not focused on one certain line or anything. It's focused on a lot of Soviet heavy tanks weapons updates, which my first reactions and my still reactions of this is I hate this one. I hate it. You know, and I'll say why I hate it later. But either way, also to say the Object 277 heavy tank, the Object 277 Tier 10 Soviet heavy tank is on track. So yeah, so that's the thing. Overall, in general, they basically buffed the 122mm gun penetration changes on the affected vehicles will look like. For the Tier 7, it now has 100... Still has 175mm of penetration. Tier 8 now starts with 190mm penetration, and Tier 9 will now start with the 217. So basically, it's the same gun, but different intervals of penetration. Now let's talk about different guns on different tanks. For the KV-85 and the KV-13, the 85mm D-5T has a penetration buff of its standard to 120 to 144. Its premium penetration went from 161 to 194, and its high explosive penetration went up from 43 to 44, which is okay. Now, yeah. Okay, now we go on to the ISM, the IS-3, the ST-1, the KV-4, and the T-10. Basically, this is the stock 122mm gun. Basically, the penetration got buffed from 170 to 190mm of penetration. Standard 270 on its premium. 217 to 247 on its premium, and the high explosive stayed the same for the 120mm D-25T. Now, the next is the Ism Object 705. Its penetration went from 212 on 240 to 265 on its premium, and its premium is the only thing that got changed. Now, this is a little bit more of a gun penetration buff for the Soviet KV-85. I think I already mentioned what just happened to this tank. Now we move on to the IS, and this is when it starts happening of what I hate. So they remove this 85mm gun, which I believe they removed this gun to put this gun in its place, which is okay. But now let's get on to the thing I really hate. Now, they say they removed the 122mm D/25T, removed as a duplicate gun on the IS. I don't really know about the IS if it actually was a duplicate gun, but the other 122mm gun was actually buffed. Its reload buff was buffed from 13.8 to 12.3. And now let's move on to the KV-13. Its penetration was buffed. Its accuracy was buffed from 0.43 to 0.39. Added a new gun top gun option. Penetration 160 to 220 and 44. Now they actually added a gun to the KV-13, so that's interesting. Now, this is the one that really does irritate me. They removed 3 guns from the KV-3. Actually, it was 2, because this gun, and this gun are the same. Okay, so basically, they removed this 85mm F-30 gun, and they also removed the 122mm D/25T gun, which is actually the better gun than this gun. So the KV-3 got nerfed because this gun, this 122, was better than this 122. Why remove this one when you could just remove this one? Interesting, correct? Yeah, they nerfed the KV-3. Like, really? Really? Honestly, why? Yeah, they removed the gun I always used. The gun that was better than the other 122. So yeah, I'm just gonna move on. ISM penetration buffs all around, pretty much. IS-3, they removed the D/25T. Okay, here's more gun removes. They removed, let's talk about turret 2. 122mm D/2/5T. They removed that gun, and they also removed the 100mm gun on the IS-3, which is dumb because some people play the IS-3 gun. Play the IS-3 with the 100mm. Quit removing guns for gaming. Now, penetration also went up on the IS-3 on one of its 122mm guns. The KB4 had a gun removed, the 122mm D/5.2. Now that gun wasn't really good on this tank, so let's just move on. And now this gun is now the new stock gun, which its penetration was buffed to make it the new stock gun. The ST1 had a gun removed. Basically, they removed the 122mm D/25T. Its penetration got still the same. Wait, this is the new stock gun. Its BL9 gun got a reload buff from 12.6 to 12.3. And yeah. And here's a new gun for turret 2, which is basically this gun. Now we go on to the T10. You guessed it, the T10 got a gun removed, and they made this gun the new stock gun. Okay. The Object 705 got pretty much penetration buffs, basically on its premium to 240 to 265, and same for turret 2. They updated a module name, and basically if you owned any of these guns, they gave you the silver equipped. And also the KB5/Gornus got a penetration buff on its standard runs from 167 to 175mm. So basically, that was it. And overall, I don't like this. Yeah, the penetration buffs are nice, but removing guns is always a bad thing because it takes away from the game. It always does, because it always takes away from the unique playstyles of each tank. Like the Pershing's derp gun. They took that gun away. I played the Pershing with the derp gun. With the IS-4's tier 8 gun. I played with the IS-4 tier 8 gun. Like, they keep removing guns that people like playing with. Like the AT-7 when it had the 10-shot autoloader. They removed it. Quit removing guns, Wargaming. Anyway, that's it for this video. Remember, like, comment, subscribe. Also remember SLAPAFISH because watch that. And peace out. See ya.